Hi everybody from TechnoLost, so welcome to the final video review of the Sony Xperia Z1. So we've already seen many dedicated focus on this device, especially for what concerns the multimedia side. So today we will see the final consideration on this device. Let's start remembering what are the hardware aspect and the technical specs of this Sony Xperia Z1. We have the CPU, which is a SMM8974. It's a Snapdragon 800 quad-core CPU clock at 2.2 GHz with a production service of 28 nanometers. We have the GPU, which is the Adreno 330, and we have 2 GB of LPDDR3 memory, so it's quite fast memory. We have 16 GB of internal expandable storage. We can expand the internal storage via microSD card slot. We have this display, which is 5 inches diagonal display, full HD resolution, 4041 pixel density, pixel per inch then, and we have of course TFT technology with triluminous display. Then we have the main camera, which is one of the most interesting aspects of this device, which is the Eximor RS sensor. It's a backside illuminated sensor, quite a big sensor, 1 inch on 2.3, and we have the lens, which is G-Lens from Sony, 27mm for 6 element and an aperture size of f2.0, so quite a fast lens indeed. Then we have the battery, which is 3000 mAh, and we have the operating system, which is version 4.2.2. This device is LTE capable category 4, which means 150 megabit per second in download speed and 50 megabit per second in upload speed. So these are all the hardware specs for what concerns this device. Let's talk about now the software side of this Sony Xperia Z1. Let's start with the lock screen. As I told you, here we have Android version 4.2.2, and being version 4.2.2, we can of course insert more than one widget into the lock screen, not only one as we have in the recent HTC One and HTC Butterfly S, for instance. Here you can add as many widgets as you wish, and you can even, agilely unlock into the camera with this small gesture. Then the, lock screen has this nice effect for what concerns unlocking. Here we go. Dealing with the UI, well, Sony skinned a little bit this UI, but to me this is one of the most interesting UI actually on any Android devices. It's a little bit skinned. We don't have that many exotic features like we could find, for instance, in the Galaxy S4. So much exotic feature that you maybe won't ever use. Here all that you have is something that you may probably use because it's something very, very functional and useful, and this is a great plus to me with this Z1. Sony's made quite a simple interface, extremely elegant to me, and very, very functional, and these are such strong points, such strong plus into this Sony Xperia Z1. So let's see a few things about this device, a few things about the customization made by Sony. Let's start with this bar here. We have the quick setting navigation bar. As you may see, we can select what kind of shortcuts we want into the bar, and even you can rearrange the position of each of them. Here just I want to show you a few things. This new UI is very, very nice, even for what concerns animation. Sony added some small touch of class to me, like this one. When you select the checkbox like this, look at this, simple but very, very nice. Or just give a look to the small 3D effect here while you change the home. Nice and smooth, extremely smooth. Thinking about smoothness, give a look to this widget. How fast and smooth is this widget? It's incredible, really incredible. Or for instance, the animation when you have some pop-up windows, like when you shut down the device. Look at this. You see, extremely smooth, extremely fluid. Maybe, you know, Sony could call this UI liquid UI. You know, it's so smooth, so fast. It's like water. It's a pleasure to use it. Then we have even some other customization made by Sony, like for instance the multitasking menu. Here, as in any other recent Sony devices, we have what Sony call mini app. These mini app are nothing but some app that goes into overlay mode, which means that you can use the device and do whatever you want, and you will always have this app in front of you. You can start more than 3 apps at a time, not like into the previous Sony Xperia Tablet Z version 4.2.2. Here you can start even more than 3, although, you know, given the fact that this display is just 5 inches diagonal display, maybe more than 3 is even not that useful, because you don't have that much free free space into your display. Nevertheless, these apps are very useful. You can even add more apps just downloading those into the Play Store, or even transforming some of your widgets into this mini app, which is a very useful possibility added by the Sony Xperia Z1. Then we have other customization made by Sony, like for instance dealing with the keyboard. Just let me show you the keyboard here. If we select the keyboard, as you may see, we have several customization. Let me show you. We can, for instance, change the keyboard skin. As you see, we have these 3 different keyboard skin. Beside the keyboard skin, we can even, let me show you, keyboard settings. We can even change keyboard appearance, you know, selecting some additional keys like full stop and comma keys, or even smile keys, which are nothing but emoticons keys. We can of course change the skins, as I showed you in a few seconds before, or more interesting, changing the layout, like having, you know, numbers and special characters here into the second level, or nothing, or even the T9 keyboard like. So many customization and a very nice keyboard, which is extremely fast. Let me show you. We can of course even swipe to right, very interesting. And maybe just one weak point of this keyboard is that the spacebar is too tiny, you know. Even if you play with the additional button that you can add here, like command and full stop key, or even the emoticon key, this spacebar, it's always way too small to me. So the first time, until you get used to this keyboard, you may press the full stop keyboard just, you know, to press the spacebar. This is something that may happen the first time, but for other reason, this keyboard is extremely fast, very good in typing, and it's very good even this small lens here that we can use to select the right position to correct a word, for instance, or just to change, you know, the cursor position. So a very nice keyboard for this Z1. We even have few other things, like the dedicated widget made by Sony. We saw this one dealing with the gallery. Very nice, very elegant, extremely smooth and fast with this wonderful animation. We have even the calendar widget, the music widget, and some other widget inside this Sony Xperia Z1. Very, very nice. Then we have, of course, like we used to have in the previous, in the recent Sony Xperia line devices, the what Sony calls themes, which are some, you know, skin change, dealing with the wallpaper both for home and lock screen, but even changing like background colors, like the colors when you select, for instance, a radio button or a checkbox. So these are quite common in the recent Android devices. And the last customization I want to talk to you about is dealing with the power management of this device, and it's called stamina mode. This one too was already present in the latest Android Sony Xperia devices, like starting from the Xperia Z, even the recent Xperia Tablet Z, for instance. Here you can change settings for stamina mode. Stamina mode will completely shut off connection and apps when the display is off. This may be very, very useful to gain considerably battery power when we are in standby mode. But you have some nice settings that let you select some exception. So these apps that you can see listed here, they won't be shut off when the display is off, so they can keep running in background if they want, and even continue using the net. This is really interesting. I can tell you for sure that using the stamina mode you will gain so much in terms of standby time. Really, really useful. So these are more or less all the most interesting aspects of this UI and customization made by Sony that I want to show you. Then we can talk about some other aspects of this device. We can sum up a little bit about the multimedia side. I do remind you, if you want to have a better in-depth view of the multimedia side of the Sony Xperia Z1, you can give a look to my dedicated focus, quite a big one, 3 parts, because it was a huge focus. We can try to sum up a little bit here. Great stuff for what concerns pictures. I mean, this device 9 on 10 always takes wonderful picture, and it's really incredible. Sometimes maybe the only 1 on 10 you have, I wouldn't say horrible picture, but anyway something really strange that you cannot explain yourself. So this means that Sony maybe still has a little bit to work on these devices for what concerns the picture quality, although we have great potential and already great result. But maybe Sony can even produce something even better from this sensor with 20.7 megapixel. We can for sure tell that Sony can do a better job for what concerns video. Too much stuttering in video, this is nothing that can come along with such a great device and such top-end devices. Sony need to work on the video part of this device. Even for what concerns HDR, both picture and video, we have mixed bag, so not always good result or bad result. Dealing with the multimedia side, very interesting is even the quality of this device for what concerns video reproduction. MKV files as usual, only video, not audio. We don't have problem with DivX, XVID, or even the MP4, but we have some problem for what concerns Windows Media Video. Of course, using a third-party player, you won't have any kind of problem in reproducing even Windows Media Video. We have a wonderful music player, Walkman one, extremely simple but elegant at the same time. I love this player, very, very nice, and some nice touches, like this, for instance, small animation here when you listen to something that does reveal some more button, like the infinite one, preference, and vote, and so on. And it has a great output for what concerns headphones here, with very good equalization. And the main speaker here is not that wonderful. I mean, not bad in terms of volume, but maybe it's not the bad things to listen to music, because it does completely lack of bass frequencies. Very interesting is even the possibility that I haven't showed you before of directly connecting a DualShock 3 gamepad to this Sony Xperia Z1 and use it as a wireless gamepad whenever and in whatever game does support gamepad. This is a nice plus for the Sony Xperia Z1. So now we can talk about another aspect which is really interesting, which is the browsing. This device comes with Chrome. We don't have stock browser. This is really a pity, but it's something that is happening more and more in the recent high-end devices. Here we have Chrome. Nevertheless, this device can copy Chrome wonderfully. We don't have any kind of problems. You can see it's extremely fast and smooth, fluid, even in pinch zooming in and out. We don't have any kind of problem. Of course, Chrome does not support Flash player, so if you want, a better browsing experience and you do need Flash, you can use something like, for instance, this Lightning browser, which is extremely fast too, as you can see, no problem, even in pinch zooming like this. We even have text reflow with a double tap, as you may see, and of course we have Flash, which is in some situation really interesting. Sorry, I touched the okay. Here the Flash plugin is now enabled, and as you may see, the browser keep going extremely fast, smooth, no problem. It's such a pleasure to browse with this device. Very, very nice. So we saw more or less all the most interesting aspects of this device, so we can draw a line and talk about the cons and the pro. We don't have that much cons in this device, but indeed we have. So let's start with the cons. The first one deals with the design, but to be more precise with the size. This device has quite important size, considering that it has 5 inches display. Devices like the Samsung Galaxy S4 or even the recent LG G2 do have, much smaller size on this Sony Xperia Z1. We thought that Sony, with the previous Sony Xperia Z, learned that it needed to, make the device a little bit smaller, but it didn't. Sony told us that the main problem is dealing with this 20 megapixel sensor, which was too big to, shrink the device. Let's believe Sony, but let's hope for the next high-end device made by Sony to be a little bit smaller, especially for what concerns bezel. We have quite big bezel into this Sony Xperia Z1. Then we have the deal with the display. I don't want to tell you that the display is bad. It's not bad, but we still have some problem for what concern viewing angle, especially for the vertical one. We don't have problem in horizontal, so in landscape we don't have problem, but we have problem in portrait mode. So you may see, if you do this like this, you may see that we don't have such a good vertical viewing angle. This is a pity. The display is very good otherwise. We have finally very good viewing angles for what concern horizontal viewing angles, but it cannot still be considered a top-end display, like for instance G2, which is to me nowadays the best display actually on the market because of this small lack in vertical viewing angle. Then we have a little bit, a small problem for what concerns the video part of this device. We don't have, the quality of the video recorded by this device are for sure not on par with the rest of the device itself, especially for what concerns pictures. So Sony should work a little bit on this. And I want even to tell you about, a small bug that I know that Sony it's already working on it, but I want to talk to you about this. It's dealing with the optimized backlight here. These settings save some power from the display, out of adjusting both brightness, but what is even more important, contrast. And here I want really to notice these things. If you uncheck this box, you do gain quite a lot in terms of visibility of the display itself. The display that's even better than what it is normally, and you even gain a little bit in terms of vertical viewing angle. So I would really suggest leave this option unchecked. The problem is that if you uncheck this option and you restart the device starts going crazy, will take, you know, an infinite time just to start up. It will heat very much, and it will start stuttering as soon as you start the operating system. So moreover, sometimes if you just lock the device like this, you won't be able to, you know, wake up the display anymore. This is something only dealing with this optimized backlight if you reboot your device. Sony already knows this problem and it's already working on it, so let's hope that Sony will, you know, quickly fix this option, because leaving it unchecked is very good things for what concerns display quality. So let's talk now about the Pro. We have several Pro. First of all is the materials used into this Sony Xperia Z1. Wonderful, let me tell you, it's wonderful. Glass aluminum frame gives you such a great feeling. Even the design, I mean, even now we finally even have the dedicated shutter button here for the camera. You know, I've been trying recently even the Xperia Z Ultra, which I hopefully would talk to you in about a week. I had a little bit, you know, a small problem with the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. I will hope to have it back sooner. But, you know, although the materials used into the Xperia Z Ultra, which has, you know, not polycarbonate, but it's as a fiber of glass, you know, is not on par with this Z1, which has aluminum. Is gorgeous, let me tell you. It's really gorgeous, great feeling, and these great materials will let you even a little bit forgive Sony for the important sides of the device itself. Then we have a nice plus, which is of course the IP55 and 57 certification. You can see all the latches covering the most important port like micro USB, micro SIM card slot, micro SD card slot, and all this stuff. And it's a nice plus having finally the 3.5 headphone jack, always free to use. You know, you don't have any latches covering it. And for people like me who do use so much the headphones, it's such a nice, you know, plus to have the headphones always free. Moreover, this is a small touch of class to me. You may see that we have the notification LED here inside the speaker grill. It's very nice. So we talked about the hardware side, and we can talk about the software side. This device is extremely fast. It's, you know, it's crazy fast. Look at this. It's insane. And what is even better is that you have so many small animation and stuff that are, you know, just liquid smooth, and it's really a pleasure to use in everyday life. It's great, extremely great. Even the UI from Sony has small touches. It's not that invasive. It's, you know, it's don't have some exotic feature that you may never use, but you have all that you need, and all that you need is done extremely fast with this device. And this is a great plus, let me tell you, it's a great plus. You already saw maybe the benchmark focus and the you know, game focus. This device is blazing fast even for what concern gaming. Then we have the display itself, which is, you know, years ahead of the previous Sony Xperia Z, let me tell you. We finally have good viewing angles for what concern horizontal viewing angles, but we're still lacking a little bit in vertical viewing angles. Although if you know, deactivate the optimized backlight, you even gain a little bit more for what concern vertical viewing angles. This display is extremely sharp. It's incredibly sharp. Very good color reproduction, especially when you look at pictures and video, and it's very nice. Although it cannot be considered on par with the best display actually on the market, which is the G2, which has insane viewing angles. Here we don't have the same viewing angles, but the device is indeed very good. Although, as I told you, Sony could do even better, especially for what concerns vertical viewing angle. Then we have a few other stuff. Of course, the camera sensor. This huge camera sensor, 1 inch on 2.3, with a great G-Lens from Sony f2.0, captures so much light and so great pictures in every situation, even thanks to oversampling. Sadly, the same cannot be said for the video recording, which still lacks a little bit in terms of smoothness, but you know, we have great potential for what concerns picture, and I'm pretty sure that Sony can even do better with this sensor. We have then finally a good battery, for what concerns the Sony Xperia family. This is maybe one of the first devices having such a good family. I'm talking about the Sony Xperia family, of course. With a medium usage, you can reach up to 2 full days. If you scarcely use this device, thanks to the stamina mode, you will get insane standby time. I had almost 3 days of standby time with 1.47 minutes, hour and 47 minutes of display time, and a little bit more than an hour of call time. Almost 3 full days. That's crazy. The stamina mode works wonderfully. Although if you do use the device, as many recent Android device, the device does use the battery, so the stamina mode won't help you if you keep using the device on and on. But with the medium usage, I have more than 6 push emails, Twitter and other stuff always going on in background, and I could reach almost 2 days. So this is very good. Then let's draw a line. This device from Sony is pretty good. We have many strong points, like the camera, even the display itself is years ahead in respect of the previous Xperia Z, although not on par with the most recent device. Great materials, really great materials that makes you forgive even a little bit Sony for having such an important size and weight. We have this nice touch of the IP55 and 57 certification. The device itself is blazing fast and does last quite a good amount of time, given the 3000 mAh battery. Moreover, you can even use the micro SD to expand the internal storage. So, for what concerns the video review of the Sony Xperia Z1, that's all. Once more, thanks for watching and bye from TechnoLost.